Well, hey, we're doing this again. Hello, hello out there. Today is an exciting day because we are continuing this conversation that I think needs to be said from all different voices and all different perspectives. And I don't know about you, but when you got into real estate, did you immediately think, "Gosh, I can't wait to lead other people"? I mean, as I've been tossing this around in my head lately, thinking how many different leadership skills we actually need to be successful in this business. And over the past few episodes, we've been covering a lot of the personal leadership skills to navigate yourself, right? Empathy and compassion, and just all the ways that to be an agent inspired to be managing of your own emotional landscape, leadership skills needed. But today we're going to talk about all of the leadership skills needed to lead buyers and sellers to get to the finish line, to get them to their dream home, to get their property sold, and all the micro leadership skills. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I remember leadership was like something on a poster. It was like a sky and an ocean, and it said like leadership, and I know nowadays there's a lot more information about this topic in general, but I just remember thinking that's for the other people. That's for the white guy in a suit that like stands in front of the room and tells everybody what to do, or some bigger, more important role in society than anything that I was engaging with at the time. I even remember going to bookstores and looking under, the business section, and there were always, it was always in categories of like leadership, marketing, business development, accounting, da da da. And I remember just like seeing the leadership section, and I would just kind of shake. No, I'm not interested in even pulling a book off of the shelf about it because that's not for me. I don't think that all leaders are born. I think that it has to be discovered and has to be uncovered, especially in yourself, the roles that you'll need to play, especially if you get into real estate, right? You don't even realize how important the skills that you're going to need to lead other people to get them to do what you want them to do. And in real estate skill development, whenever you see like the course catalog of things that are being offered, you often think, okay, well, I should try to become a good negotiator. I feel like negotiation is going to be a thing I need to be good at. And even today, I see agents who will admit that they don't like negotiating. They'll say, I don't even like it. And I said, well, that's just a mindset, right? That's just an opportunity to say, here's where I haven't been given any skills or haven't given any intention to deepen my learning so that I can become more masterful at it. And I don't know about you, but I don't like things I'm not good at either, right? Like if you don't practice something enough and develop a skill, it's easy to be like, I mean, over Easter, I tried to bake a cake, and apparently baking isn't something you can impromptu, like, let's just throw this in and throw that in, right? So every time I bake a cake, it doesn't really come out that good. It just, the shape of it doesn't stick, and I get a little too ad hoc with my impromptu adding stuff to it. And it just reminds me every time, but I'm really self-aware of my mindset speak. Like I don't say I'm a terrible baker. I just go, wow, I just haven't developed these skills yet. And I am not putting enough intention into the outcome here. I'm just literally baking once every few months, trying my hand at something. So I think this can be applied to just about every other area of real estate where we aren't going at bat enough, trying something, really getting intentional, saying this is the skill, like marketing, negotiation. And today we're talking about leadership in the buyer seller transactions, because I have really been noticing that when I am trying to help other agents and we're talking about their skill development, I'm noticing that they shy away from the idea of leaning in and seeing themselves as a leader. But honestly, have you ever tried to hire a professional for anything? Here's a great example. Recently, I tried to hire a contractor to help get a house ready for listing. And I remember just like standing there. There was like some rotted wood, and we're pointing at everything and poking at everything. And he's standing there staring at me, and I'm standing there staring at him. And I recognized in that moment when I was like, what's going to happen next? Like, okay, you're looking at it. I got you here. I've told you the problem. What's going to happen next? and he wasn't telling me what was going to happen next. And I found myself so internally frustrated because I'm like, okay, dude, I need you to tell me, here's what happens next. It's going to cost this. This is what the project is. This is when I can start, like all the things to get this thing into motion. And I recognized in that moment, oh my God, this is what a lot of realtors are missing. It's like they need to embody the emboldened act of leadership to say what happens next. And when you hire a professional, that's what you're really hoping they're bringing to the table. You're hoping that they aren't just staring at you, asking you what you want to do. And I remember early in my career, I was not very emboldened with knowing what to do. I would just kind of be like, so do you like the house? Okay. And I just kind of stare at them, right? And I think it's easy to say I need to develop my sales skills, but I'm going to invite today that we develop our leadership skills. I want to say thank you for joining us today on the Agent Power Huddle. I'm your host, Dill Ward. I'm an active and highly productive icon agent with eXp Realty in Portland, Oregon. Hey, Portland's a cool place. If you ever want to visit or you know somebody who wants to move here, happy to serve your referrals or give you a tour of my amazing city. I've been in the business over 15 years and I'm super passionate about personal development. I feel like all of my successes have come from one more training, one more podcast, one more book of just little nuggets getting into my brain, helping me shift my mindset and put a lot more intention into the work I'm doing. So here today as your host, I hope that I leave you today with some ideas that you can put in your heart and say, bam, how can I put this into motion? How can I see myself in these ways? So back to the leadership stuff, right? Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about how our communication. So communication is a leadership skill, guys. And literally, we have a communication trainer in our pocket. We have all the AI tools now that are coming into every single software and every single way to help process information quicker, right? So communication has never been more important to be concise and to be clear. And Brene Brown has this saying that I love, and it goes, to be clear is to be kind. And I just love this for all things. When you are clear, you are actually being kind to the other person because they can interpret what the heck you're trying to say, what the heck you mean, and how they can now take that information and what to do with it. I watch myself and so many others spend a lot of time getting a message from another human being, whether it be a text or an email, and I just want to stare at it. And then I want to show it to someone and go, what does this mean? Are they being totally rude and crazy and blah, blah, blah? And a lot of times they're not. They're just not very clear. They're just being all gobbledygook with no clear direction around what they're actually asking you to do. And because our business is hyper communication, we're texting, we're emailing, we're calling, we're PDFing, we're sending emails. I can tell you as the receiver of a lot of communication, I have a lot of listings and I get a lot of inquiry from agents. And through those inquiry, I'm like, wow, we run the gamut of communication capabilities from almost caveman grunts to like long dissertations about why something is something, right? And so on Agent Inspired session, I thought we should really talk more about how to become a highly effective communicator through the lens of just really being inspired to be your best self, to accomplish what you want, and to develop those leadership skills to get the other person to understand what you need and what you want. And specifically in moments of tension, right? So when there's an opportunity to help a client make a decision, that's when our emotional intelligence coupled with our communication skills, that's what we get paid the big money for. We don't get paid big money to open the door and point out the countertop and talk about what the features of the home are. No, when someone is standing at the crux of a decision, they are looking to you for leadership, for guidance, for emotional intelligence, and we need to be skilled up. We can't be practicing on them in the moment. And what I mean by that is you need to do a lot of work outside of the time of the actual interaction, whether you're sending an email or you're going to have a chat with the client. You need to do a lot of work processing Now, some of us are verbal processors and we like to talk about everything out loud and figure out all the scenarios. Some of us like to write. We like to make lists and go, through all the different scenarios quietly in our head while we're processing on paper. It's super important that you know how you process so that you are not verbally processing the process with the clients while they're in the decision. Now you can help them verbally process, but if you're the one like working yourself through your own emotion and reaction to the information that you now need to help them make a decision about, you're not really serving them. So it's a lot of the prep work of communication. And I've been playing this game with myself, especially with written communication. I've been playing this game called How Many Words Can I Take Out? Because ain't nobody got time to read 15 paragraphs of your dissertation about what the thing is you're trying to ask them to do or ask of them. So the game of how many words can you take out is how concise can you be and how can you monitor the adjectives you're using to see if you're using a lot of negative connotation words and like setting it up, right? So in the Agent Collective, we've been blessed with a learning series of NLP stuff. And so I've been learning a lot about that and thinking about how our minds, our processing, and then our written communication is actually the leadership piece, right? We're telling the people what to do next. And a lot of times, especially in emails, especially in negotiations or at the crux of a decision, we need to be really certain that if you show it to another person, they know what you want them to do next. And this is kind of basic sales training. Anything that you're doing in online marketing, whether you're putting out a social content post where you're like, hey, look at this house. If you don't show the viewer or tell the viewer what to do next, they will do nothing. They'll just be like, oh, that was fun. Swipe to the next one, right? So every single thing you do, whether it's a text, an email, a phone, a content, a social media, anything, telling the person what to do next. Clear is kind. It helps improve the chances that you will get the outcome that you want. And so I'm going to invite you to spend this entire day in very high intention around your communication, even if it's with your spouse. Wow, that was fun. Your spouse or your family or your kids or your sister. Like every time you tell them something, think about, am I being really clear about my outcome or am I hoping they'll guess? And I know for people that are not as practiced at their communication, a lot of their emotional baggage gets in the way. And then they want other people to guess what they want or need because they can't speak their truth. But real estate game is like, this is like combat sport of whoever's the boldest, whoever's willing to get in there and state their intention. But you can be very sweet and kind, and you can even be introverted and quiet. You don't have to be wild and loud like me. You can be any version of yourself you want, but confidence is like the thing, guys. And whatever you got to do to get yourself in a confident state to communicate with clear intention around what you want. Now, today, hopefully, you're doing some prospecting and hopefully you have some transactions that are they're in their process, right? Everyone loves to hear from you about what is going on. Even when nothing is going on, you can still say, here's what happens next. And this is a very powerful statement to help people kind of settle in like, somebody knows what happens next. And that is like such a gift. And at the end of a transaction, buyer or seller, if you're always telling them, here's what happens next, here's what happens next, by the end, they feel so calm and they have so much trust for you that is how you seed a long-term referral, repeat customer business because they're coming back to you. Like they don't want just an order taker. They don't want just someone who likes to go look at houses with them. They want someone who's just bold and says, here's what happens next. Here's what you got to do, especially on the crux of a decision, especially when you have difficult things to tell them, right? Because we have to spend a lot of time telling people, hey, it's not the way you'd hoped. Hey, guess what? The house actually has a ton of problems. Hey, the seller is actually kind of crazy. Hey, the buyer doesn't even have any money. Why'd they make this offer? Like sometimes you have to tell people really hard things that seem really insane. But the question I have for you is, are you doing it from a place that has the customer's best interest in mind so that they can have an emotional reaction that gets them back on track, right? There's a lot of people that are like drama laden. They just want to be like, play that bom, 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 bom before they tell them the bad news. Like, no, it's the opposite. You got to hype them up and then be like, oh, and then there's this also unfortunate thing, right? Like we have to be transparent and honest with people, but we don't have to do it from the doom and gloom place. We can cast a vision, which is my next point, casting a vision. This is so critical. Even today, while you're staring at your pipeline, and hopefully you all have a CRM, I hype on this every time. Your CRM is literally the most valuable thing in your real estate business. But while you're staring at the names of human beings in your database and you're thinking about them, and you're having this internal dialogue with yourself where you're like, that person, I wonder if they'll ever move. While you're having this little session, which you should be having every day, you should be casting a vision. So Jimmy said that he wants to move sometime this year. And you could just go into fantasy land thinking like, okay, sometimes here, I wonder what would be the best time. Well, it's got kids that are in school. Maybe it should be after school. It'd be after June. Maybe it'd be in September. He should probably start looking. Oh, he should probably like talk to the center. Like you can start daydreaming the whole process for someone. And then when you actually get to interact with them, you're coming to them with this place of just like all this vision for them. And they feel it. They're just like, wow, like you're thinking about it for them more than they're thinking about it for them so that you can help them see the path because you've already thought through the obstacles. This is like Navy tactical stuff. You're trying to see where their obstacles are going to be so that you can show them, hey, this might be a difficult time for you because you mentioned that your sister's coming and you're going to be doing this and that. Like when you've put in pieces of the story that they've shared with you, and you marry this up with the vision of how they can accomplish their goal, how can they not want to work with you? You're the person that's in their daydream with them. Like, I just think that this is such a valuable thing. And it's valuable for you to cast a vision for your business of how many closings are you going to have? How many customers are you going to help? And then start to daydream about how your business magnetizes those opportunities. And sometimes you sat daydreaming about these 5 people and they didn't get off the horse, but you now visualize the whole process of the problems they were trying to overcome. And someone else just is attracted to you with the same sort of family makeup or situation or problems that you already know how to solve. You already know the whole path to promised land because you thought so much about it. And I think we underestimate the power of visualization in this way, especially when you're new. If you're just starting out, you're like, oh my God, what if I even had 1 client? That'd be amazing, right? So if you're at that place in your business, give yourself grace, but just go down the fantasy land and pretending you had 10 and think about all the ways they'd be navigating through this experience because it really will magnetize opportunities. Okay, next on my list of leadership skills that I think are super important, I touched on negotiation. I think every single person who wants to work in sales for buyers and sellers, if you're working in the front lines of real estate, right? There's lots of roles in real estate, but if you're working front lines, taking a time to take classes and to become certified as a professional master negotiator should be a thing you want to tout. You want to be great at negotiating. If you are not currently good at negotiating, start telling yourself a different story. Start listening to podcasts, take some training. It's not that complicated, guys. And it doesn't require that much of you. It does require you to decide that you want to just be amazing at it. Just like, I want to be good at it. What does it even mean to be good at it, right? And just being willing to understand the factors at play when people are in the throes of negotiating and trying to get what they want, right? And people always think it's about money. And yes, it's about money. But there's so many other maneuverable levers in the sale agreement that you can help someone value and put a context to help present an offer to another party that's going to make them want to work with you, right? And even though I've taken almost every class that they've ever put out on negotiation, I still am learning every day. So this is not a one and done. You don't just get a stamp in a book and then you're like officially the best ever. You have to keep skill developing, sharpening your knife, and because there's a lot of kind of people out there. And there's also a lot of moving targets in this industry. So, which brings me to my next one, which is problem solving, real-time problem solving. This is a leadership skill, being decisive. This one we all struggle with in and out, right? Some days we're super decisive, and some days we're like, I don't even know what I want for breakfast, you know? And we do get decision fatigue. I don't know about you, but in any given day, I feel like I have so many things that are just sitting, waiting for a decision to be made that I'm like, oh, I don't want to make anymore. Someone else decide. But that is part of this role. This is part of this highly paid role, is to be great at figuring out what to do next. I truly believe being resourceful is the thing that helps you be good at business for yourself anyway, being resourceful to find clients. And then once you find them, being resourceful to help solve the problems along the way. But I think this is a mindset more than it is a skill. I think it's deciding whatever comes my way today, universe, I don't know, I'm going to look around, I'm going to ask people, I'm going to look around, I'm going to ask all the people, and I'm going to find the answer. I'm not going to just be stopped. And I think so many people just get stopped when they don't know what to do about something. And that should just be an old way of thinking. A new way of thinking is like, whatever the problem is, today I will solve it. And and in doing that, you will build your confidence. Your confidence will keep growing the more you succeed at solving problems. And we don't solve problems alone, guys. This ain't going. I'm really off track today. This isn't what I'm saying. I'm not saying like, oh, you have to solve every problem. No, being resourceful enough to crowdsource information, whether it's Facebook groups, whether it's realtors, whether it's your brokerage, whether it's your friend, whether it's your spouse, somebody knows more information about the problem you're trying to solve. So it's being resourceful enough to go find that information to help your customer make decisions. And especially with properties, right? Whoo, there's just an unlimited amount of things that can be wrong with a property. And I think we can develop our expertise every time we get a new one. So like whenever I'm with my home inspector and he's like, well, guess what? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my goodness, I get to learn something new, even though that kind of stinks, you know? But it's again a mindset. And the clients see this. The clients appreciate this. This is part of showing them that you've got leadership and you're not letting the ball drop just when it got hard, right? You're not just like, well, this house has this problem. So what do you want to do? No, that's terrible. This house has this problem. Let's find the answer. I'll call everybody. I'll see how much it costs. We can figure this out. We can negotiate. And that is why they hired you. That is why they will hire you over and over, and they will refer you and tell everyone about you, because you stood in the discomfort and you moved forward and you showed them how to move forward. And that's what I wanted to talk so much about today, because I see everyone kind of, we're flatlining as a society. I feel like the energy between agent to agent, agent to client, vendor to client, vendor to agent, it's just like blah, 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 blah. Everyone's just meh, 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 or just text messages with like 5 words and no context, right? If you want to get anything done today, pick up the phone. Tell someone how much you appreciate them. Call the painter, call the landscaper, call anyone. Just tell them how much you appreciate the work they're doing and helping you figure out this problem. Be an agent inspired, because that person gets a lot of things done. That person attracts opportunities endlessly. That person overcomes just about everything. That can be you. That can be you today if you decide to be intentional with all your communication. Every single message. Ask yourself, am I saying it with too many words? Am I being clear? Am I telling them what they should do next with this information? Because sometimes you just have to dump a bunch of stuff on someone, but you should tell them at the very end, hey, process this and let's chat in the morning. That's a next step. You didn't lead it up to them to guess what is the next step in what you just said. Okay. I want you to commit to this. I want you to embody this. I want you to be emboldened today. You can make anything happen. The world is full of opportunity. Don't listen to the news. The news wants to tell us that everything is bad. There is so much good. There are so many good humans who love and care about each other. There's so many people who need help to buy and sell houses. Even if we are in record low numbers, there's not zero. We're not at zero houses selling. So today you can sell houses. Today you can go out there and you can find buyers and sellers, no matter what the odds are, if you have the right mindset, the right energy, and the right communication. Until next time, keep yourself curious, be bold, and stay inspired.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.